Good morning, everyone. I have a question. Have you ever been shy to ask a question? Why? So, share with me, have you ever been shy or felt awkward to ask a question? Let me know. Hey, Pranam Pepe. Hey, Shine. Hey, Ashwati. Oh, Prapat, I'm sorry Facebook isn't working. Okay. Well, YouTube is always there. Um, Hi, Palak. Hi, Pala. Hey, Shelly. So, let me ask the question again. Have you ever been shy or felt awkward to ask a question? And let me know why. That's one of the main things that I want to talk about today. I've been thinking about change in the world, and I realize that so many of us want to change or might like to change, but maybe there's something that stops us. Hey, Itspo says the feeling of being judged creeps in. Okay. Yeah. And for folks on Insta, please do go on YouTube or on Facebook so I can actually stay in touch with you. Satvika, I feel it might be too intruding to the other person's privacy, so you don't ask questions. Okay. Shine, not confident to stand out, mostly feeling alone. Okay. You know, a lot of us have been mocked for asking questions. And Satvik, I think what you talked about was inquisitiveness. So maybe we can talk about that aspect as well. But my thing is more about when you want to learn something or you don't know everything about a topic or something, and you're usually shamed for not knowing enough, or you pretend to know something so you're not found out as ignorant. And you know, ideally, if we wanted change in the world, there are a few important things that probably take place, right? Let's say everyone asks questions openly, they discuss with each other, everyone learns more, we come to new conclusions together, we share our ideas, and then more people ask questions about those new ideas, then they discuss, learn, evolve, share, and on and on. However, this is not what usually happens in our society, or even our schools, our colleges, our workplaces. Um, and, you know, Tendril David says it's much easier to Google things than asking or confronting someone. That's a very interesting point, and I want to come back to that. The thing that gets us stuck is that over time, I think our society has been really shying away from asking questions, or we don't share where we're at, and so we don't even know how to ask someone if they're feeling different about a relationship or a situation or whatever. To be comfortable to ask a question, the space has to be safe and non-judgmental in the first place, right? It's got to be okay to not know everything. And as much as we may have been mocked about being ignorant, I'm sure all of us at even one point in our lives has mocked someone else for asking a question or saying, oh, that's such a stupid question, or how do you not know this? The thing is that when we shame someone for not knowing something already or not knowing something at all, and conversely, when we are shamed for not knowing something, there's a new blanket of emotion that we then sort of use to cover ourselves. And over time, I was thinking of this visual of blankets or razais, you know, if you're in India, that you take one blanket and then you take another bed sheet and then you take another quilt and a razai, and you keep layering over and over and over each time you have this urge, have this curiosity, have this question. And so let's talk about some of those blankets that muffle our natural curiosity, our natural instinct to learn by asking something or by questioning a particular thought or fact. First of all, there's, for a lot of us, a layer of fear of being judged silently. You assume that people that you're talking to, or in your team, or your spouse, your boyfriend, or your girlfriend, they're silently judging you. Maybe that they think you're silly or unwise or uneducated. And this is an assumption you make about an assumption you think they're making about you. Then there's also the fear of being called out in person. Maybe one-on-one, someone says, they come to you or they text you and say, you really shouldn't ask stupid questions. There's also the fear of sometimes being called out publicly as ignorant. Usually in a team, in a meeting, this happens. And what happens is the next blanket, the next layer is of disguise that a lot of us do to survive this embarrassment or this fear of being judged. It's a disguise. We pretend to know a lot of things. We wear a mask. We're so afraid of being found out. And then because you're afraid of being found out, you're worried that you might let slip a sentence or a thought that displays your ignorance, that displays that you don't know what you're talking about. And so beyond that layer of pretending or that guilt, you have, then you're pretending and then you feel guilty about pretending. And then over time, that also leads to more and more imposter syndrome, which may even start to come in for things that you do know about. Plus, then there's that layer, that blanket of wanting to fit in, wanting acceptance, not wanting to stand out, wanting to be included, an insecurity that if you're not included because you don't know something, maybe you're not loved. Then you start wondering, am I not lovable at all? And there's just a barrage of things. I mean, you can think of 10 to 15 layers of subliminal thoughts that are actually piling on top of each other every time you wonder about asking a question. And then sometimes, things have stayed the same for so long that everyone, including ourselves, gets used to how things are. And so even if you're studying, you're worrying that maybe someone will discover that you're questioning. This happens a lot in relation to religion, right? That your parents are worried, why are you questioning? You shouldn't question. Questioning itself is a sin. And then sometimes, let's say you change your mind about politics, or you change your mind about the environment, or you change your mind about literally anything, even about another person. And you worry that changing your mind is making you seem unreliable or untrustworthy. And somewhere in that is, if I'm unreliable and untrustworthy, maybe I'm not lovable. But really, when we abandon outdated personal views because we've learnt new information, it isn't unreliability or unlovability, it's wisdom. So my question is, can we get more comfortable asking questions? Can we do both things? One is that as people who are asked questions, can we be non-judgmental? Can we create spaces for questions to be asked shamelessly? Because really, intrinsically, we are curious people. And over time, I believe, with these many blanket layers of fear of being left out or being judged or being seen as silly or ignorant, we rather pretend, we rather have a mask, we rather stay in our maybe outdated beliefs or comfort zone than asking questions. But one of the root causes is that we're shamed every time we ask. And we're so afraid of offending other people that even in our relationships, when we notice maybe something is off, we're afraid to ask because we might rock the boat. Maybe we'll hear something we don't want to hear. But the reality is, it's better to ask. And of course, how we ask is important. And I talked about that in my last session, the way we ask questions is so important to enable open conversations. So today, I want just to leave it at that place. And let's take some breaths together. And let's think about this as we inhale and exhale. When I notice I'm being judgmental, can I be curious instead? Can I realize that I and everyone else in my life is free to ask questions? Can I realize that I'm allowed to change my mind when new information is presented, and I am allowed to grow, and when others start to change, I can remind myself to be gentle with them too, because change is uncomfortable enough for most of us. It takes courage to ask questions. It takes courage to let your curiosity about things in the world come out. And maybe if we did ask questions and we were gentle with each other, maybe we wouldn't be so afraid to change our minds and try new things. And I do want to make a distinction about being overly inquisitive about someone's personal life or being nosy about someone's personal life. If you really break it down, oftentimes nosiness and inquisitiveness, that's coming from a different root intention sometimes, So even maybe exploring first, where is my question coming from? And if it is from a place of genuine curiosity, can I be non-judgmental about myself? And can I also create safe spaces for people to be allowed to not know stuff and ask me things? I hope you have a beautiful day, loves. Sometimes when we think about questions, all we get are more questions, right? Yeah, I'd love to see a world where we don't shame each other for wondering, for asking. I'm so looking forward to reading your questions, reading your experiences, about your experiences. And yeah, let's open up. Have a beautiful day, beautiful people. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. And let's just be open. I'll see you on Friday. Mwah.